Welcome, everyone. We will begin the webinar on pre and post scan, EV charging, and air conditioning opportunities hosted by Medco Tool. I'm Melissa Joles with RDA. Chris Hinka, Business Development Manager, Diagnostic and Equipment for Medco, is your presenter today. The presentation will take approximately 45 minutes. We are recording it and we'll post it on our YouTube channel. If you have questions during the webinar, you can type them in the chat box at the bottom right of your screen, and they will be answered during the presentation. Now I'll turn it over to Chris.
Thanks, Melissa, and thanks everyone for attending. We greatly appreciate it. Some of the things that we wanted to bring up today were we're noticing that there's quite a few opportunities in our business, both in the collision repair side and also the service side on some of these emerging technologies, and we wanted to go over them with you and offer up our help, which is what we're all about. We're all about helping. Just some of the things that, as far as my background is concerned, as you can see there, I've been in this business a long time. I was also a technician for a number of years, and so starting from the beginning, I was always involved in automobiles, diagnostics, equipment, and I've worked my way through it. On to, as Melissa said, what we're going to talk about today, EV charging, pre and post scan, and air conditioning. These are all opportunities for you to engage your customers, to talk to them about things that are happening in the market. If you want to know more about it, you need to enlist our help. We are salespeople. Myself, we can assist you with either making the calls, going there, talking to them, recommending the proper equipment for them to upgrade their shop. We're there for those reasons. One of the things that we're starting to see is we're seeing that battery electric vehicles, both really driven a lot by the government, but also the need for greener energy and the use of greener energy is the reason for the drive that we're seeing in the market right now. This is what you're seeing, the percentage of total light vehicles out there. You're up to 6% or 1 million vehicles in the market. So they are growing, and it's growing at an exponential rate. As a matter of fact, we had a meeting with one of our suppliers, and he actually told us that in December of 2022, 20% of the new vehicles that were sold were EV vehicles, and we'll talk about the different types of those, but the EV vehicle is something it's one of the largest growing segments of the automobile population. So it's something we're going to have to address. I know you can put your politics on one side or the other, but to us, it really doesn't matter. When we talk green, we're talking money. And that's one of the things that we can certainly help you with. And of course, your shops, they're going to have to service the vehicles, and they're going to have to service them correctly, which means they're going to have to get involved in EV vehicles by having either the charging capability, having an actual station themselves, or being able to service those vehicles properly. Customers do have choices in the market, and as you'll see, there's over 130 different models available now, whereas you can see back in 2020, there was only 20 of them. EV vehicles are really not anything new. They've been out there for over 20 years. They started with the Toyota Prius, and literally they've been around in different forms for about 100 years. So, matter of fact, Henry Ford was the first one to develop a electric vehicle. So anyway, but just so you know, they are available. They're becoming more and more popular, and they're going to replace a lot of the internal combustion engines that we see in the market. They're going to replace those, and probably at some point end up replacing what's out there. These are just some of our suppliers of EV vehicles, and as you can see, it's pretty much all across the board. Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, Dodge, all of them, they've all come on with vehicles. I just heard recently that Toyota may have stopped purchasing or supplying them or building them for the simple fact is there's some concern about infrastructure, which we'll talk about in some of the upcoming slides. Infrastructure is going to have to be beefed up in order for this thing to be successful. But either way, in the infancy stages that we're in right now, all of our shops need to get on board with being able to service and charge EV vehicles. Really 3 types of EV vehicles out there. And as you can see, this slide gives you a great description of how they work. So you got a hybrid, and that's a gasoline-powered internal combustion engine. It's the main power source, and this would be, you know, starting with your Toyota Prius. An electric motor is used to complement the internal combustion engine, so the electricity is generated on board. We've also added some other things like regenerative braking. That's becoming more and more popular on them, so that as the wheels turn, those also serve as a generation source to be able to power up and be able to recharge the batteries. So that actually started with, believe it or not, buses was one of the first practical applications of regenerative braking that we've seen out there. The next one that we see, and these are, of course, coming up to modern day, where we have plug-in hybrids. In this case, we have a battery-powered electric motor. It's the main power source. And then we have an internal combustion engine that is used to complement the electric motor and extend range. And this uses grid-supplied electricity. And that's one where you're going to get both personal questions about it. If you run an auto parts store, I'm sure you're going to start getting questions about it. As far as how to set it up, what do I need? That's one of the main sources for it, is our auto parts stores, but also the dealers. They're getting the questions too. So the internal combustion engine is used to complement the electric motor and extend its range. It's grid supplied electricity, and the energy savings is more substantial than the hybrid. The last one, and probably the most common now, this is where we're getting to, is we're going to fully battery electric vehicles. These ones, you have a battery powered electric motor as the power source, and then the grid is supplied electricity. So whenever you purchase one of these, and just, I'm sure some of you have an understanding about it, other ones don't, but what you're going to get is you're going to get an app on your phone so that you can find local sources so that they can go there and recharge their battery. Some of them take a short period of time, some of them take longer, depending on the technology in the charging station. But you're going to get an app on your phone, and then you're going to be able to go locate it. You're going to be able to pay, and then either a QR code or a barcode will come up on your phone. You can go there, scan it in, and then you'll be able to go ahead and recharge. So you can look at these nationwide. So if you were taking a trip, you could actually plan where you're going to be charging your vehicle and how much time it's going to take. This is probably one of our most important slides right here. This talks about EV charging levels, how long it's going to take in order to charge up a customer's car. And with our shops, it's going to vary. Some of them are going to want to get into the level 2. They may have 240 volts, and I would hope that you know, all of the shops have 240 volts. But the whole thing is it all depends on how much money they want to spend and where they want to put it in order to get the charging level up to snuff. One thing's for sure: if a car sits at a shop getting collision work, and unfortunately we're waiting sometimes weeks for parts at this point, what we're seeing is that, you know, you will have time to charge it. So a shop could go with a level 1. Definitely not the best scenario, because it does take time to do it. And if they have multiple cars going in and out, it's not going to be able to keep up. But either way, this is where you have base AC level charging. It's not networked, but you know, and in this case, it's going to be, in most cases, provided by the EV manufacturer, or like I said, many of our suppliers, whether it be Phillips and Temro, Bosch, Autel, Schumacher, any of these companies all have base level chargers all the way on up that you can look at. If you have any questions, you can certainly call us. But what you have is you have the base level AC level charging, and there's no special electrical connection needed. So in most cases, it can plug into the wall. Sometimes it's hardwired in. There's a whole bunch of different ways that it can be done. But in that case, you're going to be taking 11 to 20 hours to charge the battery. Again, depending on how much you use it. If you're only doing a quick jaunt, a few miles to work and back, then you might only have to charge it once a week. But if you're going to be using it every day, then you're going to need to be charging it up every day. And as you can see, from a personal level, 11 to 20 hours is not going to service you overnight. Another thing to talk about, and you're going to find out more about this as you talk to more people about it, having that amount of amperage in your house is going to be an issue for a lot of people. Many of these older homes may only have a 60 or 80 amp service. Now, if you're running your air conditioner and maybe because it's hot out and you're running your stove because you're cooking dinner and you've got an electric stove, you may not have enough amps left to charge your vehicle. So it's something that, you know, our grid is going to have to be changed. Something that the customer needs to know before they purchase the vehicle is that they're going to be able to have enough amps to be able to charge it. And that's more of when we get into level 2, where we go to 240 volt service that we need for that. You're going to make sure that you have to have that kind of amperage to be able to support that faster AC level charging. And even there, you have 3 to 8 hours. If there is a power outage, obviously you're out of luck. But if you have a generator is going to support that also. You can turn down some other things in the house, whether it be the stove or whether you would have to turn the air conditioning off. That's going to be able to make it so that you'll be able to use the available power in order to charge your vehicle. Level 3 is public, and that's where it's going to be a quick charge. This is the fastest charging. It's done typically via DC, often by a diesel or gas-driven generator. And this is where you have, these are public corridor stations, and it's typically fee-based. So you can go ahead, you can put in the amount of charge that you need, or when you hook up to it, it's going to tell you the amount of charge that you need. It's going to give you a price, and you're going to be able to go ahead and pay for it as you go along. So these 3 ones are going to help you to determine what the customer needs. This is a great slide that you would want to take to the customer if you're talking to them about it, just so they have an idea of how long it's going to take them if they have vehicles in the shop. And this way they can kind of plan their workflow a little bit better. Now, key target markets for any of these chargers. Private and government fleets are moving towards an electrified fleet. I'm in New York State, so I know that they've gone all in on electric. They're moving, I've seen just in my area, places like Walmart, outside of government office buildings. All of these places now are having charging stations that are available for people to pull up so they can go ahead and do a quick charge on their vehicle. Anybody, and I'll repeat, anybody that's running a body shop, paint shop, service shop, you will have to deliver that car fully charged to a customer. There's no doubt. You're going to have, to call up a customer after you just did $10,000 or $12,000 worth of collision work on it is not going to be good to tell them that the car's dead and they're going to need to get somebody down there to charge it or call somebody to charge it. You're going to have to do it and get the thing fully charged. So anybody that thinks that they don't need one, we need to definitely let them know that they're going to have to do it. Commercial opportunities, you have retail, light industrial. I'm sure you're going to see it that a lot of your businesses are going to have them right outside. I would see probably in a lot of cases, any of your gyms, fitness centers, any of those. Again, like I said, shopping centers. There's one of the shopping centers local to me that I think they have 12 that are chargers there. That one's driven by a diesel engine, believe it or not, or actually it may be natural gas, but it is driven by an engine, an external engine. As far as residential, InFocus studies said that they would lean on either the car dealer or a local parts store for information on guidance on what charger to use. Real important stuff. That's going to certainly help us, in our quest to sell some of these. But people are going to be looking and they're going to have questions. And certainly anybody who can answer those questions is going to get the sales. One of the other emerging markets that we see in our shops is everyone needs to be able to do pre and post scan and be able to use a scan tool. The pre and post scan became very important a few years ago. And the reason was, shops ended up getting into trouble because the car would come into them and the customer may or may not say, hey, look, at the check engine light was not on when I brought it in. So what did you guys do to my car? So it's one of those CYA type of things that you have to do in our business nowadays. The beauty of it is with the scan tools that we have, and I'm not talking about any particular scan tool, whether you have Launch, Autel, Bosch, however, whatever you're using, but all of them have the ability to do a pre and post scan, be able to either send it to the cloud or send it to an email address, and then you can attach it to the ticket to send it to the insurance company. Why is this important? Well, it's important because it helps our shops collect labor dollars. Labor dollars to them, if they get $75 or $100 for a pre and post scan on every vehicle, that means that they're going to collect that $100. If it's $100, that means that $3,000 scan tool is going to be paid for in 30 scans. That's very important to show them the return on investment. Why do I want to buy a scan tool? And the other part about it is every single one of these tools makes it easy to be able to do this pre and post scan. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be a certified technician. Anybody can do this in 5 to 10 minutes. They can have that run. A service advisor, a collision estimator can do it. So that it's attached to the paperwork, a pre-scan, and then at the end of it, it's done, that the post scan is done. And that's going to go through and check for any codes that might be in the vehicle. It's going to also check to make sure that all of the modules are working, from your ABS, airbag modules, all those things are working when the vehicle is sent back out of the shop. You can also look at the state of charge of the battery. If it's a hybrid, they can look at that. That's not something that's in the pre and post scan, but that is something that they can look at in order to make sure that the battery is charged for the customer to be able to pick up. One of the other things that people are not aware of, that they should be aware of also, is that all of the things that we do on a scan tool, whether it be adjusting steering angle, whether it be ADAS calibrations, are absolutely contingent on the alignment and also steering angle before performing any ADAS calibration. So a customer is going to have, and again, the insurance company is going to have to pay for these things. You're going to have to at least check the alignment. That costs money. They're going to have to check the alignment. They're going to have to make sure that the steering angle is set in order for you to go through and do your ADAS calibration. And we'll talk about ADAS calibration in a little bit here. But what we're seeing is we're seeing an absolute need for these scan tools. Again, every shop needs one. There's no doubt. They have to be able to do the pre and post scan. They can call it what they want. I know that there's a ton of different names for it, whether it be pre and post scan, or it's just a fault code check, or whatever you might want to do. But it's great to be able to take that, print it out, or send it to the cloud, or send it to an email address so that they can attach it in order to send it to the insurance company. That's where they're going to be able to collect their dollars. And that's something that rings true in a shop owner's mind: return on investment. How am I going to pay for it? These things are expensive. The scan tools, if you're going for a full function scan tool, you're looking at anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000. So you want to be able to recoup that. And if they can do that in 30 or 40 or 50 times using a scan tool, and especially being it's not a technician using it, it's a estimator, then you're going to be able to pay for that and be able to show them where they're going to be able to make their money back very quick on these things. And that's what it's all about. One of the newest things in our business, and it's definitely an emerging market, is ADAS. That's Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. We're seeing more and more of them. We continue to see more safety systems built into these. We call it an Advanced Driver Assistance System, but it technically is a safety system for a lot of it. It helps take a lot of the guesswork out of driving the vehicle. You'll notice, I don't know about you, but if you've ever driven a car that doesn't have a backup cam now, it's something that you're always looking to the dash to see that backup cam. It makes quite a difference. But talking about an emerging market, it's growing. Up to 93% of new vehicles are equipped with at least one ADAS feature. So that could be blind spot detection, it could be lane departure warning, it could be radar, it could be LiDAR, it could be all of those different things, but they're all equipped with at least one. Most of them have 4 and 5, but anyway, there's 60 million ADAS equipped vehicles on the road today. So your collision shops now are doing it one of two ways. They're either doing ADAS or they're having someone, a mobile guy, come in to do it, actually 3 ways, or they could be sending it to the dealer. The last one is definitely problematic for everyone. The last thing you want to do is send a vehicle on the road, whether you have a driver or whatever, take it down to the dealer, out on the road without all of the safety systems being calibrated on. You're going to end up in trouble with an insurance company if something like that was to happen. So, or you could have it towed, which is again another thing that costs a lot of money, but you need to have these things calibrated and done before the vehicle leaves. So they're either doing them in-house or they're having a mobile guy come in. One of the shops I just visited just a little while ago, that was one of the main reasons why they wanted to talk about ADAS, was they were sick of sending the stuff out. And a lot of it was pretty easy. A lot of it could be done right in the shop. Some had to be done on the road where they had, and those are the 2 different types there is. There's static and there's dynamic ADAS calibrations. The static ones are done indoors, of course, and are relatively easy, but the dynamic ones are done on the road. And sometimes that can take a 2-3 mile test drive in order to get those things squared away. Some of the things we talk about with ADAS, that's adaptive cruise control. We have blind spot detection, lane departure warning, windshield night vision systems, rear collision warning opportunities, and all of these are additional labor dollars for anybody who wants to go ahead and grab them. So just another emerging market that we're seeing. These are the ones that we're identifying that are pretty easy to get out there. And they're ones that we can certainly help you with, of course. One of the other ones that we're having quite a bit of luck on, and something that's worked out well for us in the past, is air conditioning training. Every one of our shops is doing air conditioning, and they all need to have at least one person certified in the shop when they're doing it. So we offer a class where you have air conditioning training. Just to give you a little bit of history on how this all came about, the Clean Air Act of 1990 required all technicians to be certified in handling refrigerants. They wanted to make sure that people were handling it safely, and also environmental concerns, right? This is where we start seeing more and more environmental concerns, rightfully so. For years, we hadn't done a good job on the environment, but now we're on the right track. So the EPA came up with EPA 609 certification, allows industry professionals to understand and stay compliant with EPA guidelines in handling and disposing of refrigerant. Any shop that wants to purchase more than 2 pounds of refrigerant needs someone in the shop to be certified. Well, what does that do? Well, as we know, sometimes shops will lose technicians. They either go someplace else. As they always will tell you, there's a reason their toolbox has wheels. But anyway, they will at times leave. So someone in the shop needs to be certified. It's an open book test if you want to do it. We also have the ability to bring in a proctor. I'm one of those proctors that you can bring in. You set up the class. We would do it in a venue where there's maybe 15, 20 technicians. They all pay the fee, which is about $35 per person. And you go through, we do the class, we talk about it, we take a test, and we get them certified. Nice way to get your customers together in a room. We also would want to maybe bring in an AC machine. Maybe we would want to bring a refrigerant identifier, some of the air conditioning tools. I'm sure we would have scan tools there, whatever those might be of your choice. We can certainly do that. Bring in this equipment for them to look and see what they need in order to repair these cars, ask questions. We'll have the industry experts there to be able to help them make a buying decision. But again, any shop that has to purchase more than 2 pounds of refrigerant needs to have someone that's certified in there. If you're a private person, if you want to top off your own AC system, you can still do that. However, it is and always has been against the law for you to vent refrigerant to the air. I know that happens in shops probably more often than we wish, but again, if you're vented to the air, that's where you can get in trouble. Anyway, the certification is about safety. And every time I walk into a shop and I see certifications on the wall, some of your customers may not know what they mean. They might not know what MAX is. They may not know what ASE testing is. But anytime you see plaques on the wall, certifications on the wall, it adds credibility to your customer. It adds credibility to that people walk in, and it's a good thing to see. I mean, everybody wants to see that on your doctor's office wall, don't you? So it's a good thing, and it's a CYA thing. Will anyone from the EPA drop by and fine them for not having it? I would say that I've never even heard of that happening. But anyway, what more than likely will happen is someone will get hurt in the shop, and they'll get in with an attorney, and they'll find out that, yeah, somebody should have been certified in the shop. Somebody should have been in charge of safety. Somebody should have been in charge of maintaining this equipment. And guess what? Nothing's happening. Or you may get a disgruntled employee wanting to cause trouble with you, and they pick up the phone, they call the local office, and guess what? Now you have an EPA officer standing in your shop. Not a good situation, and they're more than likely going to fine you for more than what you maybe what maybe they were brought in for. Anyway, so we're your Medco team. We're the ones that are happy to help you. We can do either virtual trainings or meetings like this with your customer if you'd like. We can do calls. Certainly we have people out in the field. You probably are very aware of who your Medco salesman is. If not, we can certainly help you find one. If you're a customer who's not using us currently, we can do live clinics. As I said, we're set up so we can do in particular demos on air conditioning, pre and post scan. We can do those. We can do them on ADAS. We can do it on heavy duty. If you'd like, we can do it because all of this stuff applies to heavy duty, just like it does in the automotive. Obviously, ADAS is not something that the heavy duties have embraced yet. There's only 2 manufacturers that are using ADAS on the heavy duty trucks, but they're used to it. Some of you may have remembered the old system called NORAD, and that was before it was used by the government. It was actually used in trucks. It was a collision avoidance system that they put on the front of tractor trailers some 30 years ago. Anyway, so you may or may not know about that, but what we have is we have, give us a call. Obviously, we participate in shows. We do them all the time. So if there's anything you have as far as an up and coming show that you might want to get us involved in, we're there for you. Financing. What you'll notice is that some of these tools and some of this equipment is extremely expensive. One of our combination alignment and ADAS machines runs $40,000. Now, to some people, that's no problem. They can finance that for. They can give maybe terms for that for a customer who's a collision shop. They can do terms, but some people may not be able to. So that's where we can come in and we can get you involved with our financing partners to be able to take that amount of money off your hands. And the way that works is the financing gets done, you get paid by the financing company for the equipment, and your customer goes along and keeps ordering parts, paint, equipment, and supplies from you. That's the beauty of it. It takes that right off their ledger, so they don't see that big bill every month on your bill. They see it from the finance company. That's a big benefit right there. We can also find the right payment plan to fit your customer's needs. You've got a customer that's starting out. They've only been with you for 2, 3, 4 years on business. That's not a long time to build up credit. So, maybe you can help them along by getting them involved and getting a finance partner to help them along, be able to take away some of this burden, to be able to help them to do the right thing and get the equipment that they need in their shop, and best of all, getting it through you. We support the post-sale. One of my main jobs is I'm a tech service guy. I talk to people every day with questions on whether it be ADAS, scan tools, any of the diagnostic tools that Medco sells. I'm involved in that all the time. Air conditioning, questions, problems, we get involved in those. Anytime one of our factories is not giving the support that they need, we get involved. We give you the help, and your Medco salesman is there to help you with that also. So we're not going to walk away from the sale. Any questions that you have? I'll be happy to take them.
I don't see any. But if anybody has them, go ahead and type them in. I just want to let you know, I'll follow up by sending everybody Chris's contact information and a copy of the presentation. So if you want to follow up with him directly, you can. Don't see any. We finished a little quicker than we thought.
Yep.
That's nice. All right, I don't see anything, so we'll wrap it up. We'll be in touch with future training opportunities, and thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Chris. We really appreciate your time today, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.